Sup, Nibbles? J-Dog back with another goddamn fucking interview. And today we got fucking Katon from the almighty goddamn Hirax.
Hails.
So Hirax is playing, what is this, a Metal Immortal Fest?
Yes.
Out here in goddamn Pittsburgh. And so obviously special Hirax is playing. But what I heard, fucking some demons, evil forces whispered in my ear that we got a goddamn birthday boy.
Yes.
Is that true or false?
True, true. Today I'm 60 years old.
Oh shit.
Doesn't look a day over 40. Everybody's gonna put the camera, god damn, J-Dog looks older than him.
The same man, you're aging well.
I know, very, very well. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yes, I mean, yeah, dude, you being that old, because a lot of the guys that I grew up around are in their 50s, like Don from Nunslaughter, shit like that, and they were the older guys, so you were even like into metal before them. Having said that, I guess one thing out of curiosity is you getting into extreme metal music, starting with bands like Venom, Hellhammer, Merciful Fate.
Yeah.
You being that, and it was already a controversial kind of music and taboo to the masses. You being an African American as well, how did people take that? Like your family, your friends?
They didn't get it at all. I mean, obviously they weren't going to get it, but I was more accepted amongst that scene because I was getting pen paling, you know, like we were writing to everybody. So it would be like you're writing to Switzerland, you were writing to Sweden. And this is so cool because as a kid with a crazy mind, to be able to write to Quorthon or to be able to write to Tom G. Warrior back when they were just starting out, because like Hellhammer, right when I heard that demo.
So you got the demo when it came out?
Yeah. Obviously I loved Venom. I mean, who didn't? And Motorhead, all that stuff. But bands like Hellhammer and Bathory, that was a whole new world.
But for like a Hellhammer demo, especially a band being overseas, how at that time did you even find out about it? Like the albums like Welcome to Hell and shit like that by Venom, that you kind of go to a record store, somebody had it. How did you know about a demo tape?
Yeah,
Like, what introduced you to that?
Well, we were already tape trading because I hate to admit it, but I'll admit it now. Metallica, you know, that demo, where they also had their little rehearsals tapes besides the demo. Besides No Life to Leather, there were rehearsal tapes and there were pre stuff before that. But anyways, that stuff kind of got us going because also Lars was around and he had a pretty good ear on that scene. So before that, we were, you know, Diamond Head, all that shit we were listening to. But the demos really were a bunch of thrashers before it was even called really that. They were calling it trash metal in the beginning. But we were hanging out at this guy named Vadim's house, and we were all bringing over demos. We'd come over to the house, and each one of us would bring over a few demos and trade with each other. And Hellhammer was one of those demos where it was just in the pile of demos, and the covers were so killer. The artwork was amazing that were on those demos. I mean, now you see t-shirts of all those Hellhammer demo covers and stuff. But I remember seeing that and going, fuck, I gotta check this out. We were listening to that. We were all going, this is so different because it was so guttural and raw. That band just slapped me in the face, just hearing it out of all these demos. We had plenty of other shit. There was all these Overkill demos and Tankard and before Creator, I think they were called Terrorizer or Terror something.
Oh, Tormentor,
yeah. Tormentor demos of the early Creator stuff, and I remember the first Destruction demo, but all that stuff came out a little bit after the Hellhammer stuff. But the Hellhammer was the stuff that blew our minds, and we just got a hunger for it. We just started looking for more demos, and then I was trading with Tom G. Warrior, because he got a hold of the Hirax demo, and he liked it. And I was like tripping on it because they were so different than Hirax, you know, but I think there was always that open-mindedness to like, when you heard bands like us or you heard Nasty Savage, all these different bands, because there were all these bands from different corners of the planet, you know, whether it was Japan and Switzerland and all that. So the more we got into that stuff, it blew up. But it started for me more with Hellhammer. That was kind of the band that just twisted my mind, you know, I got so into them. And me and Tom were writing, and then after a while with Hellhammer, that's when Celtic Frost changed to Celtic Frost. But I was right there from the beginning with that stuff. I loved it. As soon as I heard Hellhammer, they were and they still are one of my favorite bands.
Well, that being said, actually, I've heard through the grapevine, correct me if I'm wrong, is I remember the Hirax 84 demo.
Yeah.
It's about maybe 15 years ago or so. It came out on a 7-inch. I'm pretty sure it's a bootleg.
Yeah.
I could be wrong.
Yeah.
And that was my first introduction to hearing the demo. Yeah. And I'm like, this is fucking great.
Well,
I was like, I don't know why he doesn't put this out official. What I heard, so correct me if I'm wrong, and now that you're talking about demos, I actually find it even more surprising. Yeah. I heard people like, he doesn't really like that demo.
No,
I was like, this demo is great.
You know what it was? It was more, I hope this is picking up, because I don't know if I'm holding it right. I feel like Ricky Bobby. Am I doing the right thing with my hands?
You're good.
So people bitch about the audio. See? It's not just me, goddammit. It should be picking up.
But no, the thing was I wanted it to be done right, and so that guy that did do it, we were talking, but then he went to another guy that was in the band, which was fine with me. But they just decided they were going to do it that way. So when you look at that 7-inch demo, that was just, I wanted it to be done. I'm like you guys, and I got to say, hell, you know, you guys fucking, the shit that you guys do, the packaging is amazing. There's a lot of love put in there, even though I know we're metal, but, you know, saying love at the same time is crazy. But you guys put so much fucking love into your packaging. I'm the same way. And going back to the demos, like with Hellhammer, all that packaging, Tom used to send me packages like you would not believe, with all these demos and lyric sheets and just flyers and stuff. And that's why I wanted the Hirax, if we were going to do it again, the demo, I wanted it to be authentic like that. So we didn't have the time, and so they just put it out. It was a 7-inch, and that's great. They still did a pretty good job. But then when I started talking to the guys from FOAD, which was years later,
did LP.
Yeah, they did it more the way I wanted it to be done.
It's nice. I have it. Yeah,
but
nice.
I still think if we, because they always want to do different versions and all this shit. But if we ever do it again, I want it to be where there's more of that kind of stuff in there. There should be posters, flyers, maybe even some stickers, all that kind of shit.
Well, having said that, liking it's.
But I do love it, so don't think I
well,
don't.
no, hang on. We're going to find out if you love it. I'm going to be watching the set list. I'm expecting to hear one song, and I guarantee I'm not, because I've seen Hirax only twice.
Yeah.
It's like, fucking no demo
Yeah,
songs.
you know what's funny?
Those songs were great.
We're probably going to get around to it finally. We haven't done it yet. For years, I said I would never do it just because I feel like sometimes bands are held to that. Like when you tour certain countries, they want you to only play that, which is cool, but I'd like to mix it in. You know, I just don't think you should have to just do one of your demos. I think you should be able to mix that stuff in there and kind of make your set.
Yeah, just like one song off it.
Yeah.
You just realize, man, go all the way back to 84. Here's a demo
We
song.
probably will, and it's also because of guys like you that won't let it go. But no, we've had, even some of the festivals that are really great, they've asked us to do them, and we haven't done them because that was one of their stipulations. Like, you only could play that. It's like, I want to kind of do a retro of the whole history of the band.
Yeah, no, I think a whole catalog. That's why I even told Corpse Grinder, I was like, you need to do a song from every Cannibal album. He's like, that's tough. I'm like, hey, man, big boys equals big boy responsibility.
But I do get it, because I'm the same dick. Like, there's bands that I love. No, there's bands that I love, and you're like, why don't they play, you know, like Maiden? Fucking, I love the first album. Who doesn't? But,
right.
But after a while, those bands, they've been doing so much stuff for so many years, they can't even get that in there. But I'm, like I said, I'm like everybody else, so I want to be held to the same standard. I get it. Like, there's certain shit you want to hear. So with us, probably now, with all this shit, we're going to end up doing at least 1 or 2 songs off the demo. But it takes time to kind of implement that, because I still got to get these guys on page with that same thing. But I'm still very proud of that. I think it's crazy not to be proud of shit that you've done like that. That's part of your whole thing. Like, from the beginning to the end, everything you do is part of it. So.
Well, I got a perfect business proposition for you then.
Go for it.
It's going to help you out for shows. So 85's first album. I know that's the year I'm born. You're like, 85, what the fuck, got born? Fucking goddamn young buck.
Yeah.
Coming up on 40 years, and it's becoming trendy, but in a popular way. I like it for bands that done. Deicide did it. Mayhem fucking did it. Who other bands? Morbid Angel did it. Where they do an entire album.
Yes.
You could do 40-year anniversary, the entire album, front to back, throwing a couple demo songs, couldn't sprinkle in some other shit, because the first album's like, what, 30 minutes?
Yeah.
It's pretty quick. Do the whole album, because people like to announce it. And what you could do, too, is you can maybe do another, I mean, I saw they got repressed on vinyl.
Yeah.
I think those up to the first 2. Yeah. Some type of pressing, either repress of a CD, shirt, shit like that, 40-year anniversary, do a mini tour wherever you can. You're promoting that album again. These new fucking kids that are clueless as fuck, who haven't even heard it.
And they are clueless.
So they can now they can hear the golden oldies. You can squeeze in some of those demo songs. We're on perfect timing. Sell merch, advertise it. It'd be great. Yeah. And all the old heads are gonna be like, this is fucking great.
No, I agree. I mean, I think also you got to remember those guys that have been with you 30 and 40 years, because they're the reason you're still going. I mean, seriously, when we do even these kinds of shows, you see people that are like, you know, they bought the first record or they were around back then, and they deserve that respect. Because I'm the same way. I've supported bands, and you're there for them. They should be there for you as well. I mean, that's the way I just feel about music in general. Anyways, it's like the fans are the most important thing. I'm not just saying that to be like, you always hear bands say that shit. It's like the most cliche thing you can say. But for us, for sure, the fans are what kept us alive. I mean, to this point now, we would never even gotten this far. People didn't keep like even repressing it. I don't even trip out so much on bootlegs, and I'll tell you why, because those people still cared enough to put our shit out.
Well, no, that I actually like bootlegs, because we get stuff in it. Sometimes it's obscure recordings, but it keeps this music alive, and it keeps it like I was like, otherwise it doesn't exist.
Yeah, and I have them in my collection too. Anybody who says they don't own a bootleg's full of shit, you know?
Either that, they don't.
Everybody, even those guys that try to downplay it, like, no, bootlegs are bad. They have them in their collections. Quit lying.
Damn straight. I show them on camera with pride.
Yeah, I love that shit. So I get it.
So what happened then? So I don't know the exact years, but I believe it was 1987, the Blast in the Bangkok demo. And then from there, you guys were gone for like years.
Yeah.
Fucking like 2002 or so you came back?
Yeah.
What happened?
I did like most musicians. You get pissed off and burned out and you hate everybody and you go away for a while. I did all that. And then my wife was over there. And Don, it's good to see you, man. Good to see you. Seriously. None slaughters in the house.
Yes, they are.
But my thing was, it's like, I didn't want to do it. And then my wife found a bunch of letters and she goes, what are all these handwritten letters? Because I still had some stuff left over. And I go, I used to be in a band because she didn't know I was in a band. And she's like, well, she started reading the letters. She's like, you got people that actually fucking care about you. I'm like, yeah. And then she goes, I'll tell you what, let me hand make some CDs and see if we can sell them. And she sold like 5,000 CDs by hand. She handmade all these CDs. And I'm like, I guess maybe I should do it again. It wasn't even really about that money. It was more about like
people care.
Gave a shit. Yeah.
Leave it to the women.
Yeah, exactly. And that's another thing. The women in this music, there's so many brainiacs that are helping make this shit happen. So much respect to the ladies of metal. But yeah, my wife was like she spearheaded the whole thing, and then we started doing records again. And I always wanted to keep doing vinyl. Like even when they were telling us we were crazy, like it was even hard finding pressing plants at a certain point. But we still kept doing vinyl. We never stopped doing vinyl the whole time.
Well, it's funny because yeah, the full length came out with New Age of Terror. That's right around Hell's started, like a few years, and we were doing vinyl from day one. And yeah, it was not common at all. Everyone's just doing CDs. And I remember we got the New Age of Terror, I believe the TPL records.
Totally.
We got them in. And but yeah, it was a time that wasn't common. Like these kids don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it used to be hard to press vinyl.
Yeah.
Man. So I mean, like we never stopped doing that. We never stopped putting the lyric sheets in there, all that kind of shit. I still, when I send out mail, send a ton of shit. You know, like they don't expect it, but I always put stuff in there because that's the way we were. Like when we bought records or we collected shit, it was always nice to get some flyers and all that stuff. So still do that. But I try to do what I grew up on. I'm not trying to be cool. I just do exactly the same shit I've been doing for 40 years now. You know, I think that's what keeps the underground happening. It's because of the bands and the people that do the records and the fanzines. All that shit matters. I mean, all of the bands basically are brothers, whether they realize it or not. We all go through the same shit. We play the same venues. So I'm just trying to keep it the way it's always been for us. I don't really follow trends because I don't even go to the fucking mall unless I need some underwear or some shit, you know? Like I just still do the same shit we've been doing for years.
Sure. Another head scratcher I had that I want to fucking ask. You're obviously a fan of Merciful Fate.
Fuck, who isn't unless they're stupid? Yeah.
The head scratcher was, I was kind of like, it's kind of like me starting a band and putting on a song called Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. Is you guys have a song called Satan's Fall?
Yeah. Totally.
Wasn't.
Well, obviously, I mean, you'd be lying if you didn't have that even in the back of your head, because the first two Fate records for me and the Nuns EP, I call it that.
I call Nuns Have No Fun too.
Yeah, but those three records for me are part of like the blueprint, you know.
Well, that's what I mean. So when I saw the record come out and I looked at the track list, I go, oh, Merciful Fate cover. Then I get some like, oh, it's original.
It's
that's kind of weird.
It's definitely influenced by that, but also I love stories out of hell and all that shit. So any angel that was an angel at one time and became a demon, I love all that shit. So that's basically what that song is based on. But yeah, Merciful Fate's definitely an influence, and I'm proud of that.
She just said, move over, King, I'm going to give you a run for your money.
Why not? And I think we all, like, when you start going through your catalog of songs, all of us that wrote songs, you're like, that's a little nod to this band that I love. You know, I think all people that write, there's going to be influences in there, and there's nothing wrong with that. You should be proud of it. A lot of bands try to downplay influences, and I would never downplay Merciful Fate. That band's very important.
How many times has Hirax played with Merciful Fate or King Diamond?
We've never played with them. I've seen
never
them.
Ever?
No, I've seen them. I got lucky because I got to see Fate on the first tour. You know, you always get to wave your flag on that. But I saw them.
I wasn't alive.
Yeah, I saw them at the Country Club, and it was Merciful Fate and Exciter. Mm-hmm. And then I saw them at the Hollywood Palladium, and it was Motorhead, Merciful Fate, and Exciter. And fucking I couldn't hear for 3 days after that.
Do you recall, because when I heard, because that was the '84 tour, Don't Break the Oath, right? First Merciful Fate tour. Yeah. From what I've heard, from other old timers that were there, they said there was a part of the crowd that was like booing. They didn't like King Diamond's vocals.
They didn't get it, and they hated his vocals.
Yeah, that's what I. Okay, so
I mean, even for me, I didn't hate it, but it was something you kind of had to get used to. Like when you first heard Fate, you're like, and if you grew up on Priest, you're like, well, that's a falsetto, but it's high, but it's a falsetto high. But once it set in, you're like, this shit's incredible. But yeah, at that show there was a lot of booing.
Was it okay?
And they were really controversial because they had the nun up on the cross with the blood and everything, which we loved. But yeah, Fate was very much one of the first shockers to everybody. They were shocking. I mean, everybody grew up on like Alice Cooper and all that shit, but Merciful Fate was a whole nother thing. It's fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
But yeah, they weren't really accepted. Even Motorhead, I remember the first time I saw them, half the crowd didn't even know what the fuck they just seen.
Did you ever play with Motorhead? Hirax?
No.
Never? Okay, so I figured...
You're bringing up all the bands we haven't played with.
Well, it's just fair, because even, like, especially you've been in California, Hirax, 80s, I figured at one point maybe you opened up for some of these bands.
No, you know what happens with a lot of us is later on in your career you do these festivals, and then everybody's on that festival.
Yeah.
So we play with bands like Priest and stuff like that, but I wish Fate would have been awesome, especially because I'm like the old schoolers. 84, 85 to play with Fate or see them, fucking, it doesn't get any better than that.
Now I'm curious then, are you one of the guys, I'm meeting more that are not, but I'm used to the guys growing up, aka Big D over there, I don't like those junk 90s albums and King Diamond.
I'm pretty much like that.
Okay.
I call it the dick attitude. You can't help it. Like, I mean, for me, people are going to probably hit me on this, but I'm like, for Maiden, it's right up to Killers. Right when they went in the Number of the Beast is where I'm kind of out.
Oh, you don't like Peace of Mind or any of that?
I can tolerate them, and they're great records, all right. But for me, Killers, fuck, like to me that's like what set them up. I mean, the first album's incredible. Killers is like, if it wasn't for Killers, Number of the Beast wouldn't have been the way it was.
So you're surely not jamming X Factor.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sorry, King Polly.
So I mean, but not everybody's that way. I'm just saying that's my perspective. Everybody's different, but I'm that way with a lot. Like Priest, for me, it's like right up to Hellbent for Leather, right around British Steels, where I'm kind of.
Oh damn.
Yeah, I'm a dick. I'm sorry, but everybody's got different ways of looking.
No,
at
I understand
it.
now.
Even Motorhead, I'm that way with Motorhead.
What's your car for Motorhead?
Right around probably Iron Fist and Another Perfect Day. But then after that, I'm kind of...
That's not too bad.
Yeah, but I'm just brutal. Like, I hate to admit, but I've always been that way. People always go, dude, and they love those later records. And don't get me wrong, Power Slave, Peace of Mind, great records. But they're just a little too overproduced for me.
Maybe that's why you didn't play a show with them. You're like, yeah, this guys like our records.
Everybody's got their, like even, I know this is taboo, but even Metallica, it's like for me...
what's your cutoff for them?
Probably right when Unjustice...
Oh, well, you made it further than some of these guys?
Yeah. No, that record's... I can't really listen to that. I'm saying it's basically... Right at Masters is it. That's just the first 3 records. I'm sorry. But I'm going to get hell for that, but I don't care.
Don was harsher on him than that when he's
you gotta stick with what you believe, man. I think that you should die by the sword, not to quote Slayer, but I really do. I think if there's stuff that you like, be honest about it. A lot of people aren't honest about stuff.
Well, what's your Slayer cutoff then? Curious on that.
Probably Seasons.
Oh, you made it further than me, because mine was Rain and Blood.
Yeah, Seasons, South of Heaven, that's where I'm about to bow out.
I'm tapping out.
Yeah, but they're incredible, and everything before that, fuck, what can you say? But there's diehard Slayer fans, and they're diehards. They're gonna probably get pissed about this too. But right around Seasons and South of Heaven, that's it for me.
Did you like anything by King Diamond? Then any solo project, Fatal Portrait?
Abigail.
Oh, you did like Abigail? Okay.
Yeah, I liked Abigail.
Okay, that was.
But I'm pretty much out after that too. So. Kind of a dick. I can't help it. But it's it's okay. Like not everybody can like everything later on. Like I just think those bands, and people could say that about us, and I'm fine with that. But you're hungry at those first 4 albums or 3 albums. You're so fucking hungry, and you're really creative, and you're not making those records for the mass market. You're making them because you're making metal that you love. So I think that's kind of where a lot of bands, they falter. But I think also you can be an older band and still be hungry as fuck, and it shows in your music. And it's also about getting back to your roots. Like sometimes you got to go back and pull out some demo tapes of Hellhammer or whatever, and remember, like that's kind of like what kept you into this shit.
So it was that young rage.
Yeah, I think they're young rage, but also old rage, because we get old and we get angry and we hate everything, and there's certain stuff that we're gonna stand by and not stand by. I think you really gotta you got to stand up for what you believe, even if it's not the most popular thing. Like, you know, some people are going to cut off early in this interview, but if they stick around, they're going to learn that there's other aspects to this whole thing. Like, some of the band's integrity runs out, or they're making so much money they forget about all the other shit. They're just worried about bills and bills and bills. I mean, I think you can still have the happy medium. You can still put out music with integrity, make money, but still put out music with integrity. That's all I'm saying. I mean, I'm not saying those bands don't have integrity. It's just not for me.
Yeah. See, I actually thought you might like a little further up some of those bands, because obviously they changed or whatever. But I mean, even Hirax, the comeback stuff, I like all the records, but they are different than the first two.
Oh, yeah. And I mean, that's going to happen because you get a little better at playing, or you get better at, or you think you do. Because it happens. Some bands think they're so great and they're not. But I think for us, it's more about, like, I've kind of gotten back to, like, the whole thing of, like, the fans. Like, the fans really matter to me, and I kind of know what they expect, and I know what they don't want to hear, you know, and so I try to make sure we don't play that shit, because we should start other bands if we're going to play stuff that veers off that course.
What's something the fans didn't like then? Like, what is something that you got negative feedback or, oh shit, gotta leave that
I don't
off?
even know about that. You know, it's like with us, we've always had this thing where they either love you or they hate you, or they both, you know, like they hate and love you at the same time. So it's, fuck, I don't know. I think most of the time it's just where we might not have had the budget. Because a lot, like even there's a demo that became a record, but we did a single called El Diablo Negro. It's just a picture disc. But we recorded that in a chicken coop. Yeah, it was a chicken coop this friend of ours had. Just enough equipment for us to record. We went in there in like a day and just knocked it out. But it actually ended up doing great, and I think it cost us $25 to record it.
Sometimes those raw recorded, they just shine, they shine through.
So sometimes we just never had the money, and we're just real about that too. Like Barrage of Noise was $200 to record.
Yeah. Well, you know, it's so funny. It's I guess you guys, you by default would fall in this category too, just because you're an older guy and you've done albums and demos and been there. And I say it's all this time, and the guys, it's like, they're always trying to get more and more professional, better sounds. Like, but dude, look at your favorite shit you like. Yeah. I was like, your favorite album is Seven Churches.
Yeah.
I was like, that's not a polished record.
Not at all.
Why are you trying to do something that you as a kid didn't grow up like? It kind of like doesn't make sense to me.
Yeah, I think that sometimes there's too much money too, though. That can fuck up bands where they're just putting too much into the production, or they spend too much time mixing it. Sometimes you gotta also, like with us, we kind of sometimes just release it to see what people think, and sometimes it totally sticks. Like we did this demo for the newest stuff, and it was just us recording in our rehearsal studio, and it did really well, and it's just unpolished shit. But sometimes you don't need to polish it up too much. I mean, everybody's got their way of doing it. I just like not too much production, too much cleanness, because that's probably like back to Maiden. For me, when I start listening to records like Power Slave and stuff like that, they're so slick. That's probably what kills it for me. Because I still love, like, go back to Killers. That record's not that polished, but it's still a great record. Yeah. It's still kind of dark in its own little way. So I just like when bands don't overdo it.
Or you just don't want to say on camera you think Bruce Dickinson sucks.
No, well, you know, wow, that's a good one. Fuck me. No, he's a brilliant singer in his own way, but Paul, for me, was just, that's...
No, there's always the argument I've heard many times. Are you more of a Di'Anno guy?
I'm a Di'Anno guy for sure, but but at the same time, if I had to do what Bruce does every night, fuck that. That's a hard job. He really does. So you got to give him credit for that. But I do like Samson. So fucking Samson, his earlier band was great, but different strokes. I mean, I can put up with that stuff. But Paul Di'Anno, man. I mean, it's sad because you know he's one of my idols, and to see him go what he's gone through. But much respect to that dude. Fucking those first two records are phenomenal.
What could you say about the project you're involved with, Phantasm? The only thing I know of is I have a 12-inch vinyl, and it's not even an album, right? It's compilation.
It's like a comp of like 5 and 2.
That was short-lived, and what is the original Metallica drummer or whatever? Like, what was the whole deal? Like, I don't know the whole backstory. I have the LP and I like it.
It's a pretty cool story. Well, basically, it was me and Ron McGovney, the original Metallica bass player, and when he was kicked out of Metallica, all we did was drink together. And so I got tired of hearing him complain about Metallica, because I get it. Like, he's like the Pete Best of Metallica. If you think about it, like, Pete Best was the original drummer for the Beatles, which nobody remembers now. But he left, and then the band blew up. The Beatles got giant. So hanging out with Ron was kind of tough because Metallica... Well, he's bitter. Yeah, he's bitter. God, fuck, I'm telling the truth on this shit, and it's gonna get right back to him. But fuck it, Ron. I'm sorry. But no, he was. Who wouldn't be like? Everywhere he would go, there was a Metallica T-shirt. Like, that band is fucking huge. So, you know, he was just bitter. But I'm like, you gotta just jam, dude. I go, you gotta do like Dave Mustaine. Dave Mustaine took his anger and did something with it. You know. And I thought that's what I've always loved about Mustaine. He did something with his fucking anger.
What's the Megadeth cutoff?
Wow, you really put me on this fucking spot. This is like ambush shit.
I throw my shit out there all the time. People like to take it or leave it. God damn it, that's what I tell them.
Yeah, I gotta throw that. But he's got me on the. He's holding me up to this. Symphony of Destruction.
Oh, dude, you're way past me. I'm first 2 albums only.
I hear you, but that to me, it's a good tune. So I like
Symphony of Destruction. I think that's on like Countdown to Extinction.
Yeah, maybe? I think that's exactly what it is. but yeah, I hear you. But once in a while, I look for a good tune. If there's, you know, even me, I'm guilty of it. If it's a good tune,
they do have. I always say, I only like really the first 2 albums. But they do have a good song here and there sprinkled in there. But some of it for me, because I'm not a musician, it's just too artsy fartsy guitar wanking fucking jerk me off shit. I'm like, dude, this is not aggressive metal.
It is, but I will say the dude's a hell of a fucking
No, I'm sure he can play. I'm sure. It's just like, for example, I'm not a Jimi Hendrix fan, but I'm not like, Jimi Hendrix sucks on guitar. I'm like, that's not the kind of music I want to hear, though.
And that's cool. See, that's where me and you totally get each other.
Oh.
I get it. If there's certain shit, like even for me, it took me a long time to like Yngwie Malmsteen. At first, when I first heard Yngwie, I'm like, what the fuck? The dude just fucking wanking it. But now I love him. So there are bands that can also turn you around. It happens. There are bands where you fucking used to hate them, and then years later.
Same way. People ask me, I remember when I first heard Macabre, I'm like, these are the dumbest vocals I've ever heard in my entire life. And then it just grew up. I'm like, this shit's the greatest thing ever. Yeah.
But this is an honest interview. These kind of interviews you don't see that often. That we're kind of pissing people off, but being honest about it.
So you came in thrown in the cold war, sure, because you don't watch my channel. So if you did, you'd see.
I'm getting fucked right now, basically.
You don't know. You'd see the interview. I throw them all. I throw them all. No.
Everyone participates.
Yeah, that guy.
What I am loving about this, you're holding people accountable.
Yeah. Like, it's just how fans talk at a show. We're just hitting the record button.
No,
dude, I'm not going to ask you how was the show tonight. Honestly, I don't care. I'll judge it how I think it. I'm going to watch the show and I'm going to decide how the show's going. I'm already pre-bummed because there's no demo songs. We'll see how it goes.
Fucking honesty. The honesty. I'm getting pelted by honesty here. But yeah, I respect that though. Like, I think you really, if you come from this scene, you gotta be real. Like when the first time I met Don, we talked about metal, and it's like that's the way it should be. You should say, oh, I thought that record sucked or that record's good, you know. But that's the scene I come from. Not everybody's this true about what they feel about the music.
With someone like your age, do you like? Yeah, you'll give the honest answers. You have been so far. Do you like any actual death metal?
Well, the bands that I do like, there's a band called Massacre from South America.
Goddamn hat, huh?
Colombia, yeah.
That's Massacre, right?
Massacre.
Well, some people say it differently. Like
was this Massacre from France? Or is that France, right?
Yeah.
But everybody has a different way of pronouncing it. But these guys are from Colombia.
Yeah.
So I love them. Obviously, the typical shit, Obituary, those guys are fucking cool. So every time.
Like cool, or do you actually like the tunes?
I like the tunes, but they're also good people.
Okay.
I'm amazed with Hirax how many of those bands like us. So when we meet them, we're like, fuck you. Like the guys from Deicide, I had no clue.
That's a shocker.
They're way into our shit. Yeah.
But if you put Deicide on, would you be like, who are these clowns, or I don't like it, or oh, this is great?
Some of the early stuff I like.
Okay.
I'm not gonna say I'm a
super fan.
Yeah, I'm more like, I'll be honest with you, I'm a fucking thrash metal dude. So
that's what I figured.
Shit all day.
I didn't even think you would like any of that stuff. I figured for death metal for you at best, Seven Churches, Scream Bloody Gore.
No, those are great too.
Yeah.
Those are great.
I figured you might like those. I was like, but 90s up, I figured he's probably
I'm not a giant guy on that shit, but I do like certain bands like Obituary, Cannibal Corpse. They're sweetheart guys. They're fucking really cool.
So those would be your very okay records.
Yeah. But I'm not like a dictionary on that. But I am a dictionary on thrash. I could throw down on that shit all day. But I should be. You know, that's what I came up with. I think you should always stick with what you know.
So the new Cannibal comes out in 2 weeks. I doubt you have it on pre-order.
No, but I do like them as people. So whatever, guys. Good luck with your new record. You're fucking awesome. But I mean, I'm just like any of the fuckers that come from this scene. You know, you're kind of a bastard. You listen to what you like.
Yeah. No, of course.
But
I'm surprised
not everybody gets interviewed like this, where you get ambushed and you got to be honest about it. I can't fucking stand here and lie to you.
No, that's the way we like it. No, that's what they're going to appreciate too. No, you actually like way more than I thought, especially for your age.
I got more open-minded. But also, I ended up working in a bar called the Rainbow. It's in Hollywood, the Rainbow Bar and Grill. So I had to hear shit that I never would have ever fucking listened to.
Yeah.
So after a while, you almost get kind of like where you get turned.
Starts to turn the rage
you don't
back
realize
on,
you're
right?
getting turned over, you know?
Yeah.
So, I mean, but then there were bands I hated that I had to play every night. Like
Yeah, sure.
Guns N' Roses, I had to play them every night. Every fucking night.
So Appetite,
'Cause they're
Appetite
like-
for Destruction's dog
Yeah,
shit?
no, that record, I mean, it's a masterpiece for what it is. It's not my shit, but it's a
Same,
masterpiece.
I guess. It's a masterpiece for
You
like
gotta
commercial
give it
rock,
credit.
yeah.
It's for
I
that
get it.
style of music, it's a fucking masterpiece. But if you had to play it every night in Hollywood,
Oh, I'd be burned
and
out.
see all those Hollywood people go crazy for that record.
It'd be annoying.
They go fucking nuts. It's like I could play it the whole 4 or 5 hours I'm DJing and never turn that record off, and it wouldn't bother people up there.
That's the
So it's like me being tortured, basically.
Wow.
And the funny part about it is that record is the goddamn worst song on there's Paradise City, and people think it's great.
And they go crazy for that
Yeah,
song.
I know.
Lose their minds.
Yeah, I thought songs like My Michelle or something. I don't even know that album that well. I thought I was like, these are songs are. I'm not even particularly a fan. I was like, these songs are better. I was like,
Yeah.
so your hit is your crappy song.
Yeah,
I
it's
don't get
crazy.
it.
But you know, like I said, with everybody, like if you work in that around that shit, after a while, certain stuff you'll get a little loosened up about. But I'm still like, I'm just like you guys. There's so much shit I hate, but I have to be cool about it too, because everybody will just think you're a complete dick if you were honest about all the bands you don't like. Because they're fans, and we know it with our own bands that are so loyal to those bands. You're basically talking shit to them if you hate their band. You know what I mean? So I sympathize with those that are hating some of the shit I'm saying, because I'm that way about bands that I love.
So, you know, the way I word it, because I've had to defend myself up, down, left, and right in the channel, because I just tell them openly. I was like, I don't want you guys, and I talk about stuff that I like and recommend. I was like, and then some guys, they just go out and buy it because I talked about it. I was like, no, go out and listen to it if you respect my opinion. I was like, the whole metal mentality, for me, was supposed to represent individualism. We think different, we like the same genre, but you don't have to like the same bands. That makes it boring.
Maybe that's the way we should have started this interview off. Everybody hated us.
You're just afraid
It's
they
going
got
to
to
be one
make
of the
to the
most
end.
controversial. I'm telling you, I know we're going to hear about this for a while, but it's cool because I do wear my heart on my sleeve, and my wife knows I stand by all the shit I say. So I'm not going to take anything back. But I do think that it's good to be honest. I think that was what drew me to this music in the first place.
Correct, yeah.
When I first got into it, like thrash metal to me meant like you were real about the bands you liked, and then you were also real about the bands you hated.
Yeah.
It's a little bit more soft now because times have changed so much.
They don't understand that metal, that's what I said, that's what I was trying to say. It's more of it's a lifestyle ideology.
Yeah, totally. And it's also something that was accepting of me. You know, like we were talking about the thing of me being dark skinned.
Correct.
Was that when I came into this music, it was great because everybody was an individual. All my friends looked different, or they looked the same, whatever, but we all could relate because we were a bunch of freaks hanging out with each other, listening to the same music. And that's what's kept me in to this day. The reason I'm still doing this is because my wife looks different than I do. You look different. Fucking, we don't look the same, and we shouldn't all like the same bands. Like, but you should stand by the bands you like. Even if somebody like me is talking shit about them, you should still stand by that band.
Yeah, stand up for where you believe in, 100%. Yeah.
For sure.
So, Katon, is there anything educational you want to add other than my just throwing you under the bus shit? And then we'll sign off with that.
I actually love it though. You're calling me out, and that's cool. There's nothing wrong with that. Most interviews are fucking lame.
I know. I've seen them.
In fact, there's been none of the same questions that I usually answer in this interview, so I gotta give you that.
Yeah.
I just think that there's a community involved. I'm not trying to be all PC right now, but there's a community involved in these gigs, like this gig that's going on right now, Metal Immortal Festivals, like Nunslaughter's here, Midnight's here, Hirax is here. It's a bunch of different fuckers from all over the place. I'm seeing friends that I haven't seen in a while. But there's just a big community of people helping out. You guys are fucking a big part of it too. So it's bitching. Like, even I order records from you guys. That says you guys are awesome. Because seriously, I'm not an easy guy to order records. So I've seen some of the stuff on your site and I'm like, I fucking need that, you know? So it's like, we all support each other. And that's probably what I'm trying to say. Like, this is all about support from whatever genre they're making up for tomorrow. There's going to be another new genre probably born right this moment. But I just like the community and the scene and everybody that's involved in what we do.
If you get a chance on tonight, Spider's playing, right?
Yeah.
Try to watch. You won't. You'll be back at the hotel. But if you stay, watch the band's
Honest motherfucker, man. I knew he was honest, but it's getting more serious. But you have to deal with this all the time.
We work together.
Got a call like, see it, man?
No, man, I love it.
Yeah,
Damn.
band's called Spider, Spiter. It's a band we put on our label. I'm not saying just we put it out, because we put out stuff where I'm like, take it or leave it. There's three of us that make decisions. They're fucking great. They're like a black punk thrash band. sick as fuck. Check them out. Maybe up your alley, maybe not. I don't think you'll. It's better than Guns N' Roses.
All right, I like that.
They got a cool stage set too.
You're
so at
fucking
least watch
killing
them.
it right now. You're killing it.
Oh.
Hey, for those who hate us, sorry.
That's it for this one. That was later, goddammit.
Cheers.